Hey, Star Friends, it's Danny with Sagittarius. We're going to do a reading for Aries. I have some brand new cards that my mom left for me, and the illustrations are really cool. So I'm excited to show you. I'm going to have the camera pointed down this time because I'd like us all to take a moment to appreciate them. And we're also going to have the help of our little Halloween friends. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, we're going to be reading this way. This is the horseshoe again. It's kind of hard to see because so many cards came out, but I'll explain it along the way. We're going to start up here. This is the card that you received for your past tense. So this is your past energy. It was in a reversal. It is the Seven of Pentacles. So let's take a look at this artwork. Seven of Pentacles represents building, putting a lot of effort into something and seeing real growth out of it. But this was here in a reversal. So this is going to be your past energy that's relevant to this reading. And this card represents you basically going through, a lot of opportunities that you put a lot of effort into. There was a lot of attempts to make different things work, but you didn't really see real growth out of all those opportunities. And that led to a lot of frustration. So, all these coins represent all these different things that you put, money, time, energy, and effort into, and you didn't see any real growth out of it. So, that's the past energy here. In your present energy, you receive the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords is a very logical, very intentional. She is somebody who really sits and calculates a plan before she moves forward. So your present energy is, wanting to be a lot more intentional with either who you choose to date or what projects you decide to put your energy and time into. So this is all about being very intentional and logical because swords represent ideas and knowledge, and she's the queen. So she is someone who creates. She gives birth to these ideas. And that's going to be very important later, this present energy. This represents your present. So we have your past energy and your present energy. Now, this is going to be the hidden influence of your reading. So this is something you're not really conscious of. You received major arcana, the magician, and then you received the Six of Cups. Again, these illustrations are so beautiful. So the magician is all about believing in yourself. It is literally the major arcana card, and within the story of the major arcana cards, it's when you finally realize that you have the ability to manifest whatever you want. And if you notice, he's holding a candle. This is as above, so below. And as above, so below literally means that you can speak what you want into the universe. Now, it's interesting that this card was pulled as your hidden influence, but the magician wasn't pulled alone. The Six of Cups was pulled alongside it, which gives it a different meaning. The Six of Cups is a reminiscing card. This is about holding on to the past and a little unable to let go. So, when we have the combination of these two cards together, and this is your hidden influence, it really is a message about you being disappointed by these these opportunities that you invested in that did not really give you a payoff. So there's this holding on to the past, and that is preventing you from really being able to manifest to your best ability. You don't necessarily believe in yourself enough. And while you want to sit and be very intentional with how you move forward with your present energy, this is, where you desire to be. You're sitting here thinking about where is best to put yourself. There's a lot of self-doubt because this is the hidden influences. There's a lot of self-doubt, and it is because of these past relationships or job opportunities or school, whatever it is for you that didn't work back, and that's really holding you back from being able to manifest best case scenario. As above, so below. Whatever you put into the universe, you will receive. Speaking highly of yourself is a good start, but this is a major arcana card about believing in yourself. You really have to believe that you can achieve these goals before it will really become your reality. Okay, now we have the Four of Swords. And this is a card that represents challenges. So this is the challenges that you're probably aware of. Um, it did pull up in a reversal when I first pulled it out. So Four of Swords is all about resting and taking a break. See how he's up here, everyone else is taking a stand. It's kind of like that moment of silence you give after a tragedy. It's this moment of resting and reflecting, but it's in a reversal. And this challenge is that you're hesitating too much. You're not going to see real growth, towards this path of recovery and manifestation unless you kind of get off, and this will be more interesting later, this Four of Swords and this Queen of Swords, because while you have this Queen of Swords energy where you're sitting and trying to be really intentional about where you put your time, you're almost sitting too long. The Queen is the one who gives birth to the plans. She's the creator of knowledge. So there's almost too much time being put into this. That's the challenges. And you probably know this about yourself, Aries, that you've been kind of sitting too long, not really executing any kind of plan because you're a little bit fearful of this failure that you've experienced in the past. You're reminiscing too much on that. Okay. Now moving forward, see how it's in a horseshoe? You can kind of see that a little bit better. The next cards that we received, this is about these cards are going to represent the possible outcome that you could have. And the way that I've been noticing these messages coming through, hold on one second. The way that I've been noticing these messages coming through when I get to this portion of the reading is these two cards right here are going to represent your um possible outcome. And I see this as more of a long-term possible outcome, but it's only if you really put in the work to manifest it, because your future is not completely written in stone. And then when we get up here to these cards, this is going to represent your likely outcome. So we have possible outcome and then we have likely outcome. So this possible outcome is going to be almost a long-term goal of where you could get and where you really desire to be at. And what you received was the Emperor, or I'm sorry, the Hierophant and the King of Swords. This King of Swords is not quite Emperor energy, but he's very similar to the Emperor. And do you remember I said that it would be interesting? You had the Queen of Swords in your present tense energy. So this is where you're at right now. And what's interesting about that is this is the King and Queen of Swords and of knowledge. The Queen, in a traditional sense, is the feminine energy, and she would be the one who kind of whispers the plan to the king, and the king would be the one who executes the plan. So isn't that interesting? So you have Queen of Swords where you're sitting here trying to be very intentional, and the spirits are telling you, hey, you're taking a little bit too long. It's time to move forward to the King of Swords, to this masculine energy where you actually make things happen, where you actually move forward. But I'm sure you're wondering right now, as I'm saying all this, you're probably thinking to yourself, how do I do that? How do I know what's the right place to put my energy and be intentional? We'll come back to these in a little bit. How do I put myself there? These next three cards are going to represent the advice that the spirits and the divine are giving you. We have the Star. This is major arcana card about healing, right? So we have all these disappointments in your past, and now we have this reminiscing. Remember, these were the hidden influences. You don't really believe in yourself because of these disappointments that you've had in the past. So now the advice the divine is giving you is it's really time to heal. And also, I did pull an oracle card, and we received self indulgence, which can be a little bit misleading, but the bottom words here is focus on self, self worth, time to heal, shadow work, self appreciation. So it's not self indulgent in a bad way. This is the spirits telling you now is the time to be more selfish and to really do that shadow work and that soul work. It's time to heal from these disappointments and realize that these disappointments of your past were really just a road to get you to where you really need to be. And then we have the 10 of cups. This is emotional fulfillment, overfilling, having your glass full enough to recognize that you are worthy and you are able to complete what you want. And then we have the 6 of swords. What's interesting also about the 6 of swords and this 10 of cups is you notice that there's a family dynamic in both of them. There's this message here about, really taking support and advice of others. If other people are telling you, you know well, you're really good at this and you're really good at that, and maybe you should move forward in this, and you feel like you're also really good at it, but you have this self-doubt. This is about taking that support and listening to the advice of others because it is valuable. And then the 6 of Swords is also a message about taking the knowledge of the past and sailing on forward. She's sailing from very dark waters, very gloomy waters, and she is moving forward into this really kind of a happy sense. So this is about healing from the past and literally sailing over here to this 10 of cups energy, this emotional fulfillment, this self-satisfaction, because the cups are all about your emotional well-being. So taking this knowledge from the past, letting go, sailing away from it, and being able to reach emotional fulfillment. So that's the advice that we have. And what is even more important is this self-indulgent oracle card that pulled out with it, because this is about really about healing and doing that shadow work, forgiving your mistakes in the past, accepting them, and being able to move forward. Okay. And then we'll come back down here to this possible outcome. This to me is like a long term goal. This King of Swords energy. After you do this shadow work, you'll be able to have the King of Swords rather than the Queen of Swords. You'll be able to be very intentional about where you want to put your time and energy in, and then you'll be able to execute that plan. But then we have the Hierophant, and this is a teacher. This is about learning lessons. This is about accepting the past and being able to make plans based off of the past. You're taking that information and that knowledge from your past turmoils and turning that into your future. You're the designer of your future. That comes back to this magician, as above, so below. Okay, and then these 3 cards up here is going to be your likely outcome. And like I said, this is your likely outcome. And then this King of Swords was your possible outcome. The way that these messages have been coming through to me has been that this is more of a short term likely outcome. And then this is where we really want to get to. This is where we're going to do the work to get to. But you're likely short term. You did receive the Empress, but it was in a reversal. So we have the reversed Empress, which is a lack in belief in yourself. This is someone who, is really negative towards themselves. They don't believe that they're capable. Let me lift this up now. So those candles are going crazy. This is like a lot of negative self talk. This is about really not believing in yourself, not thinking you're good enough. And then we have the Eight of Wands. It was in a reversal. This is usually a very fast moving card, very chaotic. You can appreciate the illustration here. This is very moving forward at a fast pace, but you have it in reversal, so it's very slow progress. This is not going to be a very quick and easy, fast paced mission. And then we received the Judgment. This is such a pretty card. The Judgment, but it was in a reversal as well. So we have 2 major arcana cards, the Empress and the Judgment, which is really just let me get this off. Which these 2 cards together is really good representation of, also your present energy, and this is also your likely outcome, especially short term, is that you're going to have to deal with a lot of these negative emotions until you do this shadow work and forgive yourself for the past, failures that you made, and quit letting it weigh on your confidence today and accepting that that was the past and sailing forward to brighter waters. But you have to really do that work to believe in yourself, which is one of the hardest things to do. And then this Judgment in a reverse, that really kind of mimics this message of the Empress. And I did pull another oracle card. It was a full moon in Sagittarius, and it says, look at the bigger picture. Sometimes, if you stay in this Queen of Swords energy too long, where you're in the creating stage and being intentional about what you want, you can become a little bit nitpicky. I hope that this resonated with you and you were able to get something out of it. I do hand make these little ghost candles. They are marshmallow scented. I only have a couple left, so if you wanted to order them, especially have them before Halloween, please place your orders on sagittaro.com and do that soon. There's a lot of other fun things on there if you're interested. Also, please like and subscribe. It does help me a lot. Thanks, guys. Bye.